What is going on, guys? It's Cody here. I am bringing you the scheme out of gun tight offset tight end that I used to crack the top 100 of Madden 15 so far this year. Now, cracking the top 100 this early in the release of the game isn't really that much to brag about. If you just lab and get your own scheme, you can essentially just get there by having a better game plan than everyone. But I still want to share this. I think it's a really good formation. As you can see from the stats on the right, I ran it 82% of the time for 7.6 yards of play on average. There's a ton of great plays in this formation, so I just want to go into it, release it to the public, let you guys do with it what you will. I think it's really great. Um, so yeah, I just want to preface this by saying this is a run first, pass second formation, but at the same time, it all requires you making reads at the line of scrimmage, and I'll get into that in a minute. But I'll start with the running plays. As you can see, oh, one more thing. Um, by default, this formation has your tight end in the right slot, and your backup running back is your running back. If you want your starting running back in, you can just package it to HB1, but that does give you 4 wide receivers and takes your tight end out of the game, and you can't sub them in with RB. So just keep that in mind. Either have a good backup running back if you want your tight end to stay there, or a 4th receiver that can get it done. Just a quick side note, but I prefer the normal package, but that's just my preference. So going into the runs, you can see there's inside zone, which is still one of the best runs in the game, especially in a Snugs look like this, because running up the middle is very advantageous. The blocking is still great on inside zone, but then you also have a new play called 0-1 trap. And I personally think this is one of the best running plays in the game this year so far from what I've seen, because it's essentially like what HB base was last year, in that the pulling guard always blocks the correct defender, like 100% of the time. So you almost always have a little wiggle room or a running lane to get through. So what I like to do is I like to come out in 0-1 trap, and the reason is because inside zone is your quick audible for run. So it'll take a couple run-throughs to see when to run 0-1 trap and when to run inside zone, but essentially you can run 0-1 trap when you think you're going to have running room to the right side of the A gap. Like here I would run 0-1 trap and just cut it to the right, get 4 yards. This play is very effective at least getting you 4 yards to carry. You're always going to get something out of it, which is great. And then you also have inside zone, which is what I would run against a look like this, where you can just cut it up the middle and get some yards. It all depends on practice and making your read, like which run is better. Like I would say probably 0-1 trap is better here, but I probably won't get much. I'd probably pass against this look, but I'll just run it anyway. But as you can see, if Ahmad Brooks didn't get a block shed there, I had a ton of running room. So the reason the runs out of this formation are so good is because you have both 0-1 trap and inside zone that you can alternate between at the line of scrimmage. Also in the running game in this formation is there's an HB draw, which I would not recommend running because draws still suck. And there's also an HB counter, which I would 100% not recommend running. A, because HB counter is a shit run this year, and B, because HB counter out of a Snugs look has historically been a terrible play call. So just don't touch HB counter or HB draw. But this formation also has a read option, which is a very nice wrinkle. And I call it a wrinkle because you should be running it sparingly. This read option is a very quick read, which essentially means that your running back run is worse and your quarterback run is better. So for this play to work, ideally you want to get your quarterback to the outside. And the way you do that is by not running this play all the time. I run this play maybe 1 or 2 times a game at the most. You can run it on like 2nd and 1 when you have a free play, essentially. Just try to catch your opponent off guard. But no one would ever expect a read option out of this formation, especially after all the other stuff you run out of it. So it is a very nice wrinkle. I would show you. I'll just show you how quick the read is, but I don't know if I can show you the quarterback getting to the outside, because when I was trying this before, the computer just refused to commit to the running back. But I'll try it here. As you can see, just hand it off. If they don't do it one more time, I'll just go out of it. But you can see how quick the read is in comparison to other read option plays in this game. When you keep it with the quarterback, he pulls it out very quickly and gets going very quickly. So like I said, that's a very nice wrinkle. Those are your main running plays of the formation. Like I said, 0-1 trap and then audibling into inside zone is the best way to go. That's almost exclusively what I come out in, is 0-1 trap. And I'll show you why, because now we're going to get into the passes. Stick is a terrible pass this year, especially because they sometimes do an out route instead of a stick, which is not what you want on the goal line or whatever, so just disregard that. But bench is going to be your main pass play, and I'll show you the concept that I use with this. So back in Madden 12, Warhawk invented a scheme where it was a Snugs look like this, and you would have a flat route to the outside like X, and then Y would be on a slant out, which is was a hot routable route back in Madden 12, and essentially you would just create a decision where the corner to the outside, if he dropped back, you'd hit the flat route, and if he came up, you'd hit the slant out. And I experimented with this a little last year, but it wasn't as good as it is this year. And you can essentially run a corner route instead of that slant out, and you get the same concept. So I'll show you what it looks like here. Like as you can see, the flat route was covered, so I went to the corner route. Forgot to audible. So as you can see, I'm just audibling X to a flat and keeping Y on his corner route, and then I can just hit the flat like that. If they drop back, get an easy 8 yards, or if they come up, or if they play man, I can hit the corner route, or if they play max coverage, I can go somewhere else. The other adjustment I like to make with this is I like to put RB into block. I'm still in a run. Hold on. Let me just pick bench. This will be easier. But it's very nice that bench is a quick audible, because it's going to be your main pass play, and it's a play that you could run almost every down if you make the correct read. So you're going to put X on a flat, RB into block, and then I like to put B on an in route. And I like an in route instead of a drag there, because it gets underneath zones for like a quick 5 yards if you come back to the middle of the field. But it's also slow enough to let you make your reads on the left side of the field. So I'll just run this here, like the flat's open, so you just dump it off, get your yards. If it's man coverage, corner routes just destroy man coverage this year. Like even if your receiver gets bumped, still no chance. Like that was man, so you just hit the corner, easy. And the beauty of the Snugs formation is that bench is a symmetrical play, right? So you can also run this to the right side by putting B on a flat and X on an in. And essentially what this creates is a situation where your opponent has no idea which side you are throwing to. And when you combine that with the fact that you're going to be running a ton out of this, it's going to become very hard to stop. Just make sure you mix up which side of the field you're running this play to. But like I said, you can run it to either, and it becomes very, like here's a situation where I could just dump off to the in route and get 5 yards because all the zones dropped back. This play is very, very consistent, very, very good. As I said, it's your main pass play. So just get into practice and practice making these reads. I haven't quite figured out what to do with the opposite slot receiver yet. So like Olsen in this situation, if they're playing like a safety in the middle of the field, sometimes they'll put them on a streak and try to catch him napping. You can also try like a curl route. It's pretty good this year, where you can just throw it down. against man coverage and stuff. So I would say the curl route is your best hot route there, but like I said, that's your fourth read, so it's not a huge deal. I'll run this one more time to show you. Here's man. As I throw a pick six, it's all good. That usually doesn't happen. But you guys know all Madden computer. Here the flat route's open. Dump it off, take your 7 yards. Easy, easy, easy. So when you combine this bench as your quick audible, combined with the fact that you come out in 2 different runs that can both get you significant yardage, this mini scheme becomes very devastating. Like I would say I run 0 run trap, inside zone, and bench probably 80% of the game. Just make sure you make your reads at the line of scrimmage. Don't run against the stacked front. Don't pass against quarter defense. You guys know how to play Madden. So now I'll just get into the wrinkle stuff. The extras, so to speak. PA seams, I haven't quite figured out how to run this ideally yet, but it is a quick audible, as you can see. And what I like to do, just as a quick wrinkle, if I can, is put RB on an out route and then motion him to the right. And what this creates is a very quick out route that gets around a lot of zones, as you can see right there. It's just generally open against zone. So that's just like a quick wrinkle I like to do. And it essentially creates a short deep concept again on the right side of the field with that B route, because if they have some light blue zones up to stop the running back, you can just hit the B route over the top of that defender. I'll show you one more time here. Like there, he bit on the running back, so I hit the B receiver. Another nice wrinkle, also nice because it's a quick audible, and also very nice because this is the only play in the formation where the running back is motioned out. So the first time you run this, it's going to be very effective because they're not going to have any clue what you're doing. So that's the first wrinkle. This formation also has an HB slip screen, which is so great, so great to mix in with everything else that you're doing. Again, 1 or 2 times a game, ideally. The hot routes I like to make are, I'll put Y on a hitch and I'll put X on a smart routed out route, and then when I hike the ball, I'll slowly roll to the left. So what this creates is if it's man coverage, you can hit that smart routed out route for 10 yards or more. If it's zone and your opponent bites on the screen, you can just hit the hitch for like 3 to 5 yards, and that's better than taking a sack or throwing an interception, so that's just kind of like a check down. But the screen itself is very good. Like here's man coverage. I was actually throwing to the out route there, and the hitch took the ball, but here's man again as I take a sack. But like the screen was open right there, so don't, like if they press man, don't get hung up on that out route like I just did. But like here's zone. Usually if that defensive lineman rolls out with the running back, first of all, usually I hate when the computer plays goal line defense, by the way. But anyway, usually online, that defender won't roll out with the running back, especially if it's the first time in the game that you're running a screen pass. It's an awareness thing, but usually your running back can get past that anyway. Like here's a screen. This is just not working right now. Alright, I'll try it a couple more times. I promise this is a good wrinkle. It just doesn't look good right now because the computer knows that I've ran a screen like 6 times. But just imagine running this screen after everything else that is present in this formation, like I said, like bench and the runs. I've thrown the screen for 50 yards just out of the blue because, I mean, there's no real way for your opponent to know that there's a screen pass in this formation until you run it the first time. This is just terrible. I'm just going to stop. But I promise you that screen pass is worth a look, especially as a wrinkle. Just throw it in to catch your opponent off guard. It works wonders. Now I'm going to go into the weird out routes that are present throughout this formation. So if you look at drive out, the farthest left route is kind of a weird out route. Same with dig post with the slot receiver. And then PA read with the outside right receiver. So those out routes are very quick this year and very effective. So I'll start with drive out. This play is very good because it has this quick out route to the right, which I'll show you real quick. Like, even that should have been covered, and if that was a good throw, that's still a completion. You can see how quickly to the outside he broke. That's going to be open against man 100% of the time, regardless of a bump. It's just a really good route this year. As you can see, that was against man. Just take your yardage. Another nice wrinkle to this formation. But drive out's so good because if you look at the B route, that B route is open against man or zone 100% of the time. I guarantee it. It's just very vulnerable to user defending, but considering everything else that you're running in this formation, shouldn't be an issue. If your opponent's still guarding the middle of the field at this point, then there's nothing you can do about that. So what I like to do is quick snap the B receiver so that it gets started a little late, and then you can just dump it off like it's a drag route. And that's going to be open against man coverage by a lot. He's going to get a lot of separation on that. Like, here's man coverage, just no chance. That's a very nice, quick route if your opponent's blitzing you a lot or you just want to mix it up. Here's man coverage again. 5 yards, easy. Also unbumpable because you're doing that quick snap motion. There's zone, just dump it off. Very easy route. So that's your first read. And then that A route is also very effective against man coverage or zone. You just have to wait on it a little bit. So like if your opponent jumps on the B route, then you can just hit the A route, no problem. Fit it in right behind the zones. So I did show you that quick out route, but it's not a huge read in this play specifically. One more side note about this play is this route that RB is on is very good this year. He pretty much gets out to the flat and open against most coverages, unless it's like a cover 2 where there's a guy sitting in the flat, obviously. But that'll be open against man. Like that was cover 2, so bad example, but that's another check down read you can make with this play. So first read is B on the motion snap. If he's not there, look for A, but B should be there most of the time. Like he was open there and just got overthrown. And then obviously RB if the flat's open like it was right there. So that's another nice play out of this formation. Like I said, all of these plays, aside from 0-1 trap, inside zone, and bench, are just plays that you use to mix in, to mix it up with your opponent. None of these other plays should be run more than 2 or 3 times a game, mostly because the heart of this scheme is so good. So I'll go into dig post here. Here's where you really take advantage of that quick out route. So the only adjustment I make here is I put X on a hitch. And that creates a situation where if zones slide out to the left, then you can just hit the hitch really quick and take your 5 yards. But I'll show you this like right here. That was a good situation to throw the hitch route. But if the left side of the field ends up being open after you snap the ball, like it is right there, that safety was actually not covering that receiver. That was just kind of a gimmick. Here's man, so you just hit the quick out route. Super easy. There's actually a route like this in many strong eye close formations. I think the play is just called X out, honestly. But I'll have to take a look into that because strong eye close is really strong this year as well. And this route is disgusting this year. So there's man coverage, just hit it again. This is a very quick read play. I like to run this play in the red zone, like on the 5-yard line. Just because you can hit this out route if it's there, and you can hit the hitch if it's there. Those are basically your only 2 reads on this play because the play happens so fast, but like I said, that out route's so good and the hitch complements it so well that You don't really need anything else with this play. So one more time here, there's man coverage again. Take your 6 yards. Now, I'm going to go over probably the best. Actually, let me go over There's 2 more plays I want to go over. So there's HB wheel, and then probably the best pass play in this formation, besides bench. But HB wheel, just really quick, I will run it on like 3rd and 2 when my opponent is expecting a run. And essentially, you just create a situation where you get this X drag route open against most things for very short yardage. Like I said, this play is used mostly just for short gains, so keep that in mind when running it. But I put A on a curl and B on an in route, and that creates a situation where X is running over to the right by himself, but also separate from the wheel route. So you essentially create 2 horizontal deviations against zone coverage that pretty much guarantees you a short yardage gain when you need it. So I'll run the play here. This drag route is open 100% of the time against man coverage, which is very nice. Obviously, I'd like to have a quicker receiver out there than Jason Avant, but what do you do? Here's man again, just wide open. Like I said, it's intended for short yardage gains where you don't think you can get it while running the ball. Like here, the RB route's open. You have to be very careful with the timing of that wheel route, because that will happen more often than not, where your running back just doesn't look for the ball. Here's man again. I don't know why they're playing man coverage so much. Like I said, that drag route is just so good in short yardage situations. You're essentially just looking for the drag and for the wheel route, whichever one is open on the right side of the field. So like here, the wheel route's open. Take your short yardage. I'll run this maybe 2 more times. I'm sure you guys get the gist of it by now, but again, A on a curl and B on an in route are your adjustments. Here's man coverage again. Take your 3 yards. One more time here. This does work against bump coverage as well. Bump man coverage. And there, didn't work out so well, but you can see if I had gotten a decent animation after I caught the ball, I would have been able to cut up field through the zones for a couple yards. So that's just a short yardage play that I like to go to. Yeah. And then finally in this formation is PA seams, which I think is, or not PA seams, PA read, which I think is the best pass play in this formation besides bench. And it actually creates kind of a similar concept to bench with a play action in it, so I'll just show you. First of all, this B route is another one of those out routes I was talking about, but this one is even quicker than all the other ones. So I'll just let you watch that real quick. That was pretty ridiculous. I also should have canceled the play action. So I'll just put running back into block, cancel the play action. But if you've got a receiver out there that's decent and that's not Jericho Cotchery, he's going to bounce to the outside very fast. And so much so that I would recommend, like if I was on the right hash in this situation, I would only run this play to the left, because like B won't be able to stay in bounds. That's how fast he breaks the outside. But as you can see from the routes here, essentially the same concept as bench before, but instead of a flat route, you have that weird out route, which can get open, which will be open against man. So that gives you 2 levels against man coverage, and also against zone. You can still have kind of a flat route, corner route concept. That underneath drag is just like how it was in HB wheel, where it'll be open against man, and it's very effective at getting underneath zones. And then that Y route also can't be overlooked. That route will be open 100% of the time against man coverage as well. And it's very good at getting behind yellow zones, or if your opponent decides to use the drag route underneath, then you can hit them over the middle with the Y route. So I'll just show you this play, making my reads a couple times. Like I said, I'm just trying to give you guys the resources. These are all the plays that I ran, and I ran them effectively because I ran them a lot, and obviously I created this scheme. So take this into practice mode with all the plays that I've given you, and see what you can do with it. I'll show you this formation here. Here's man, so you just hit the B route. You can see how quickly he bounced to the outside there. He's always going to get separation like against that. Um, that was pretty good bump man coverage, and he still got out there. Um, here's a situation where I'd hit Y. Um, that should have been open, but they dropped Ray McDonald in the coverage. That was a little weird. Here's B again. Like I said, man coverage, that's going to be there. Against man coverage, all 4 of these routes will be open, actually. So keep that in mind. There's B again. They didn't put any zone to the outside, so. And just like any other play in this formation, you can flip it very quickly and essentially run it to the other side. That's a wrinkle I've always run in Madden. Just flipping the formation essentially gives you a new play. But at this point, I'm kind of just rambling, so I'm just going to run this a couple more times, let you see the reads that I make. And then once again, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the scheme. I'm very happy to share this with you guys. Like I said, this is how I got in the top 100. This is the offense I was running. So give me some feedback in the comments. If you liked it, subscribe. I got more Madden 15 content coming, and thank you for watching.
Do so! Ready? Ready? Ready?